Hello and welcome to this week's Mortgage Broker Builder Show, the CEO1440 Show, where we talk about all kinds of things, mortgage, finance, heck, who knows, AI, technology. But our main goal here is to help you maximize your 1,440 minutes every single day, hopefully to live a better life, a happy life, and do the things that you love. And I have a guest here today. His name is Michael Vandi. He is with a company called Addy. And I've got just a little rundown of stuff for him here because he's got some cool things. University of Baltimore, then went to CMU, which is not my CMU, not Central Michigan University, the teaching college in the middle of the state of Michigan. No, this is the Carnegie Mellon, well, I don't even know. It's one of those highfalutin ones out on the East Coast. Then he worked for NASA, did stuff with Amazon, not driving the truck, like actual Amazon stuff. A lot of really cool things, super smart dude. And recently moved from California here to Michigan. So he's just down the road from me in Auburn Hills, which probably a slight culture shock from San Francisco to Michigan. But he's here. He's got a cool company. We're going to talk about AI and some different things that might be able to help you in your day-to-day business. So, Michael, welcome.
John, I'm excited to be here.
Are you really excited, or are you just saying that?
I am very excited. I think in life in general, this is one of the most exciting times to be a human. And so we're just having fun working on what we're working on, and I think you as well. So this is a very exciting time for humanity.
Now, I think it's exciting. There is a chunk of me, right? I'm kind of a knuckle dragger from a different era. I don't know that I would be overly opposed to just every day waking up and crawling out of a cave and going and killing some animals to eat for the day. But short of doing that, and I think it would get boring after a little while, I like my creature comforts. But short of that, I do think that it is a super interesting time. And with all of the advancements of AI, those kind of things, I get all kinds of questions about it, but I really believe that right now, regardless of your skill set, where you're at, what you're doing, you're not that far behind the curve. And this is definitely something that either people moving forward are going to work with it or kind of for it. And for me, it's been awesome, just all the changes. I have dyslexia pretty bad. So it's leveled my writing game up to a whole nother level. I spell the T-E-H, that's how I spell it. And it just fixes it for me now. So some really cool things. And just as we kind of dive in here, I like to touch just on one thing so you kind of understand who you will primarily reach from my audience. Deal with a lot of mortgage bankers, mortgage brokers, small independent shops kind of out there that are looking at ways to, how do I compete with the Rocket Mortgages of the world? But from the same standpoint, want the autonomy, want to be entrepreneurial, and kind of running their own business, but they can't neglect all those big things. And got people that do a variety of different things, but that is kind of my niche where a lot of the people you will find here. So with that in mind, tell me a little bit about I guess you start where you want, anything at all. We'll let you do more talking than me. People probably want to hear from you anyways.
Yeah, well, I think it's good to start from my background. I have a very unconventional background. So my background is all in computer science and AI. When I was a kid, I remember I got my first laptop when I was 7 years old. I learned how to code when I was, just getting from elementary school to high school. And I was, one of these nerdy kids, didn't play any sports. And so for a black man, and I don't play any sports, I was just all about computers and all of that, where I couldn't just really fit anywhere else other than in software and in code. So I did a bunch of extracurricular activities from even when I was growing up in Sierra Leone. I always knew I wanted to be a software engineer for some reason. I would randomly email software entrepreneurs like Adam D'Angelo, the founder of Quora. I'd email Mark Zuckerberg, the founder of Facebook. And this is as an elementary school kid, I'm hey, I want to come work for you. So, I had all my mindset on building a software company and learning how to code. And so being in mortgages and working in mortgages is just the perfect time right now with working on AI. So studied computer science at Carnegie Mellon. I did a bunch of AI stuff there. And then we started off by building a technical product. We started off by building a library to train models. And it turns out that one of the industries that training models would work really well for is mortgages. And so we got a bunch of people who have a lot of experience in the mortgage industry. And then we put them all in a house for 24, 48 hours. And we're hey, let's come up with, the most fully agentic system to process mortgage loans, not only process the loans, but even after the loans have been processed, how can we make sure that, lenders and brokers get more referrals and have more retention, and then build a system for that. So we did that, and that eventually became what Addy AI is today.
And I'm sure that was a unique group of individuals. If you take a bunch of seasoned mortgage people, what you ended up with was a lot of 50 to 65-year-old men wearing skinny jeans, T-shirts, Jordans, and like a weird sport coat. Was that like the demographic of the dudes you had in there? Because that's what they go to the conference, and that's what you see, like a lot of like old dudes wearing skinny jeans and like funny T-shirts and Jordans. And the Jordans will match their the colors of their company, like their logo. So if you don't see that, you're like not at a real mortgage conference unless you get that. So
and the backwards hats. I mean, I've started wearing a hat now. I gotta just flip the hat backwards, and then I will be part of the club.
No, but you're only hat backwards. No, you got to fill you in on the rules. The hat backwards is not for CEOs and founders unless you're in the marketing space. The backwards hat is for the marketing bros. So that's who wears the backwards hats. You've got to be in the marketing bro world to do that. So the forward hat is different. And the reason that they do it, there's actually like a logic behind it. It has to do with the shadows. So right now you've got a shadow like across about here on your forehead based on where your lighting is. But if you had uplighting coming at you, then it would cast a shadow like half face.
I see.
So there's actually like some logic. See, I'm sharing with, I'm a knuckle dragger. You've got like, smart guy. Like all I did was played sports and didn't code at all. So completely the polar opposite.
The opposites.
But that being said, so that's, you'll just spend enough time around people and you'll we'll be seeing you wearing skinny jeans and a little Addy t-shirt and, pocket square on your checkery shirt. We'll get you looking like you're at the country club, the mortgage country club in no time.
We eventually would get to that. There are times when we did this hackathon in early January. And I was talking to one of my friends who's also the CEO of another mortgage tech company. And then we were like, well, how can we get, young people, with just like young engineers to get excited about the mortgage industry? So we rented a house in San Francisco, and then we threw a hackathon. So I think 150 engineers registered. So these are people from like SpaceX, Google, and then 50 of them showed up. So for like 2 days, we were just in a house and we were like, build the most ambitious things that you can for mortgages. And we got some of the most insane prototypes, like people building point of sale systems that were entirely just agentic, like bringing the decision making closer and closer to the borrower. Just imagine at the time of when the borrower is submitting the document, you're giving them real-time feedback on, let's say, the content of the document. Maybe like on page 5 of the bank statement is left blank. Like they know that right away before it goes to the loan officer. And then loan officer has to reach back out. Like it just saves all of that back and forth to things like reading matrices a lot better. A lot of these ambitious ideas. But one of the things I noticed was how we had to coach them on what a mortgage even is. These are, I really don't think people understand how siloed the mortgage industry is. Because you can get the smartest engineer at Google, and they don't know what an AUS finding is, and they don't know how the mortgage process works. So if they're trying to build an agentic system in the space, they have to be coached. So that's actually one of the things that we learned. We're making a little bit of a caricature of the industry, but some of the people in the industry, that's what they live and breathe all of the time. So I really think it's a combination of, let's say, nerds and then the backwards wearing marketing folks coming together to building an amazing system in this space.
Yeah, it's a problem that we have in the mortgage industry. We make the assumption that people understand our acronyms. Yeah. And we speak in acronyms, yet most of the world, like NAR, the National Association of Realtors, they run and they conduct these studies and the studies come out and it's like, 7 in these, I'm making up BS stats, but most stats are made up anyways, but it's something close, right? It's like 74% of all individuals still believe they need greater than 10 or 15% down to buy a house. Me in the space is like, that's completely crazy. But for pretty much the whole world, like that's the landscape they live in, which wouldn't be any different than then the programmer at SpaceX, because we don't educate people on financial literacy at all, zero. Like you find out your credit score from your Discover bill when you're 20 years old. You don't know if it's good, bad, indifferent. A lot of your beliefs on credit, finances, it's handed down from your parents. And right, so like if your parents were always 30 days late and the cable was always getting shut off and your cable never gets shut off, and I ask you how your credit is, you'd say good because it's better than my dad did. But your dad's credit was really bad. Yours is just bad. But there's no financial literacy like across the board. And I think that that parlays into the world we live in today. Believe it or not, the average age of a first-time home buyer today, you want to take a shot at it? You may actually know because you're kind of in the space, but take a shot at average first-time home buyer.
Like late 30s, like 35 to 38.
Yeah, it's 38 right now. So that's the oldest ever. Well, I mean, I can't go back. Like, I don't know how old people were when Jesus was around, but like, since we've been tracking these things, the oldest that people have ever been. And I think that that's just, they're getting way more information. So we get way more information, but less useful stuff. It's a lot of, TikTok will teach me all kinds of stuff. I can learn how to Dougie, but it doesn't tell me about, my next thing. So this is super cool. So you got all these nerds together in a house. Nerd's not a bad word. You get all these nerds together. You guys start plugging along saying like, what were some of the really big things that you took away, but just outside of that, like what were some of the wildest things that people came up with? Or like, we want to have a bot that like, we're going to fly a drone to their house and have them hand sign on a pad with a drone. And then we're going to zip it back. We're going to call it the pigeon mortgage. It's like a passenger pigeon, but it's a drone. And we're going to do this. I see it in Ukraine now. We can definitely show up with, like, if you can send a drone with a little wire across the field to drop a bomb on somebody, I can for sure show up with mortgage docs at your house. Hey, John here, not trying to sell you anything, coming at you with a bunch of hot commission breath. But what this is an FYI, letting you know that we do have a community where we have shared hundreds of posts, hundreds of sales scripts, techniques, tactics, different things to help you grow your business and maximize your 1,440 minutes every day. I'm not sure if it's for you, but it definitely could be for you. So go in there and check it out. CEO1440.com will take you to a place. You can join our free group, give it a sniff test. If you like it, awesome. We've got a lot of other things. We probably would like to sell you something, but right now, that's our gift to you. Get in there, check it out. CEO1440 will take you to a place where you can sign up to be part of our free group. Enjoy the rest of the show.
Yes. It's not overkill as that. It's all about efficiency and then being as, precision tight as possible. So the first place project was this AI agent that would connect to all of your internal systems. So they actually built a foundation that would have your CRM connected, your LOS connected, your POS connected. And then you have this one box where you can just communicate with all of it. And that I think was really cool because now you have a digital employee that sort of has all the context for every single loan. And then now it can start doing things like making calls to a borrower. Let's say, for instance, like a document's missing, or it's like 20 days after the loan's closed or their loan anniversary. But it will have all of the context, and then it would have context connected to the guidelines, the most updated guidelines. So it knows like which questions it can answer if it has to answer those questions. But if it doesn't, it can actually, fall back to the loan officer. Like imagining it saying, well, I don't know the answer to that right now. Do you want me to connect you to Michael, who's your loan officer? Something like that. So having this sort of like holistic connection system, they didn't build the holistic connection system, but they built like the foundation to have all of that connected. And then right now as a company, that's one of the things that we're building. We're saying, hey, for this AI strategy to work, these agents have to be connected to every single system. So you can really have that digital employee context that can sort of know everything about every loan and can perform actions on behalf of the loan officer, just like empower them.
Yeah, that's one of the things. So a lot of what I do, I run this foundation builder program. So I have a broker that comes in, let's say they've been struggling along and they're trying to get their poop in a group. And most of the time they're missing a couple of things that they just can't get scale. And so what I do is I come in and identify like, what's the 1 to 3 things that they're really messing up on, or that they're not doing well. And it's not a lack of effort. It's just a lack of being able to get everybody working together. And I like to equate it right now as you're kind of explaining that. I think of like a really like the mom on Thanksgiving. She's got 19 things she's cooking, but it's not like she's not just making a pie. That's doing this over there, and you've got all these parts. And companies often, they lack that mom role. Or at companies that do have it, right, they have a really strong chief operating officer that pulls all the levers and gets everything together. Or like, I spent a lot of years inside a Rocket and what is today Rocket. And they like, really focus on, hey, this one thing over here is missing. How do I get like, that's the next thing that has to happen. Until that happens, nothing else. So you're always like chasing that lead domino. And as I start looking at and just digging into what you guys do, like you can put an AI agent there that's the best COO in the world and can look at 1 million tasks, not just the 25 emails that come in that hit the inbox. And I think that it's really neat, and the power that can be pushed down. I can't afford a whole lot of people, but I can afford, like, the bot doesn't, like, it's how useful it is what I can charge for it. The cost is relative, right? Like you get paid for the problems that you solve. So that is super cool. So I have all kinds of questions. So you got this one box kind of concept. Where do you kind of see, like, where are you guys at today? Where are you adding the most value? And I know you have clients, I believe, but you're like still like, you're kind of the bus is rolling. You're working on stuff as it's going. Like, kind of where are you guys at today? What's got you most excited about? And maybe just tell us a little bit about what Addy actually is, because at the end of the day, I'm sure you'd like to probably sell something or have more people know about you, whatever. So can you kind of fill me in on what is Addy? Where are you guys at? And what are you most excited about?
Yeah. So I have a couple of notes, and I'm going to answer those questions. And I just wanted to mention that when you talked about a particular company, if you are a mortgage tech company right now and you're just focusing on a small little piece of the stack, you're going to get crushed. I think we're about the time in history now where you have to go deep and also vertical up the stack, because AI agents can do a lot of different things now. So if you are, let's say, like a consumer startup CEO, and then you only do like one thing really well, AI agents are going to be doing those things in the future. Like that's where we're going to be as an industry. So there's really no room to say, oh, well, I'm only going to be a company that does income calculation. Like that's not going to be a thing in 24 months. You have to do more. You have to provide more value than just that one little thing. So Addy as a company, what we're doing, so we call it the first fully agentic AI loan processing software. So imagine
the first,
it's the first fully agentic AI loan processing software. I know it's a mouthful.
Yeah. Again, knuckle dragger, right? Like, okay. I went to Central Michigan University, fire up chips. He went to a different CMU. Okay.
We definitely have to market the product a lot better. So imagine as you're a mortgage broker, and then you send out a 1003 application. As soon as that application gets filled out, and then docs come in, AI agents are on the job. So they look at all the bank statements, they look at all of the income documents, employment documents, asset documents, property documents, and we have a checklist that it goes through. So checking the bank statement for large cash deposits, or checking like all these different things, and it can identify those things and then determine what's missing. So it would determine, for instance, let's say in a bank statement, you said in your 1003 application that, hey, you have liquid assets of $150,000, but it doesn't match with the docs that you provided. So for instance, maybe that there's a gift letter, there's a gift in the application, but you don't provide a gift letter. And then it can then reach back out to the customer, to the borrower, requesting those documents. And then once that's submitted, it will know and then run the processing again. So imagine you just wake up as a mortgage broker and as a loan officer, and then you come in, and then it's just, this application was submitted yesterday, boom, 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 income calculations done, properties checked, gift letters done, all of your processing checklist has been completely done. And all you have to do now is just be an advisor, showing up, being in front of the clients when they need that human touch. It's like being that expert that they need and not getting dragged up in mundane paperwork. And then after the loan has been closed, you want to have AI agents. We're building these agents. We call them retention agents that can stay in contact with the borrower. For instance, 20 days after the loan's closed, loan anniversaries, reminding them about their first payments, just so they can have that sort of like referral and retention going. Because retention in the industry is like pretty bad. I think like average 15% or so retention. Most loan officers are good at creating new business, and no offense, no one right now is extremely great at maintaining old business. And there's a lot of pull factors coming in, like there's correspondent, there's like retail, there's all of these different things. So like maintaining old business is actually really important. So having that AI sort of help you maintaining old business and get more retention, get more referrals is really good. So those are the three things that we're focused on. So focusing on the front end of the stack, focusing on like the middle part where like we process the documents, and then after the loans close, making sure that you get more retention or referrals.
Hey, John here. If you're anything like me, you like to get in, poke around, you like to check things out before you go diving in head deep. We've got a group where you can do that very thing. CEO1440 is a community. We post in there all the time. There's hundreds of different people, a lot of different conversations, and things that you may be able to take away and apply into your business. Now, the guarantee, I can't make you any guarantees. It's not going to 5X your business, but what it might do, it could 5X your business, probably will give you some things that you can tangibly take away and start applying in your business every single day. Everything we post may not be for you, but it definitely could be for you. So check it out. The group's free. Would love to see you in there. CEO1440.com. Enjoy the rest of the show. Yeah, that's it's really interesting. There's so many parts, and maybe you could call it, instead of the thing, you could just call it mom. Right? Like if mortgage is like, here's your ad. Have you ever seen, grandma in the kitchen on Thanksgiving? She's got a lot of things going on. What if you could put a mom in your business? That's exactly what we've done. We're going to get the potatoes done at the right time as everything. The turkey's going to come out. It's going to be hot. It's going to be awesome. Addy is your mom in your mortgage business. All right, like, look at that. One other thing that you had mentioned that I just like to kind of point out, because I work with a lot of people here, you had said the mortgage industry is pretty good at getting new business. They're not. They're good at now business. So what new business is anybody that's just coming in the market, right? Could be 6 months, 12 months. That's new business. We're actually only good at now business, which means if you're looking to buy in the next 30 days, I can track you on Post-it notes and a pad of paper, and my CRM will actually work for the first 5 emails I get out to you. But beyond that, we suck really bad, maybe worse than we are at retention. So the mortgage industry is not good at new business. We're good at now business. And that's right. Again, I work with people and I try and say, you lose way more business than you ever write because you suck after the first 15 days. People don't like to hear it, but it's really, really, really true. And interesting stats, just mortgage related stuff, like random knowledge in my head. There was a study that was done back in 1979 where I don't know who did the study, but NARS put it back out, and the Home Builders Association, but it was a government funded study that looked at people 14 years old to like 22 and tracked them through 2016. And they found that roughly it was like 90.05% of those people ended up owning a house inside of that window of time. So if you think about leads, right, when I talk about new business versus now business, pretty much everybody is new business. It's how do I stay in touch with them? So it's not just the now business, it's that I get them in the future. And I see like things like AI meeting that client where they're at and being able to nurture them a long period of time. So you're still in the conversation when they are ready, which is super cool.
Yeah. One of the things I remember from our first conversations was when you told me that over 90% of Americans in their lifetime are going to go through, the home buying process at some point in their lives. It's a huge market. So the thing about like new business and now business, you're very, very spot on. What do you think loan officers have to do to not only be good at now business, but also new business and potentially even old business.
So I think as an individual, we can only focus on, 1 to 3 things at any given time. So what happens is you're always chasing that, like, I don't know if you've ever been hunting. Have you ever been hunting?
No.
So when you go hunting, let's say you're out, like we're going to go out, we're on the Serengeti. I'll lay out the scene. You're on the Serengeti and you're looking out and you can see, there's a pack of zebras over here. There's all this different game that's out there. But what you've got to decide is I'm going after that one and I have to just forget about this one while I chase after that one. We can only be in so many places as once. So I can't be hunting all the animals at once. So as loan officers, traditionally we'd have clients come in, you can only really handle a couple of them. And so what happens is the one that's hot, if they buy today, I've got a good process. And for the most part, people are pretty good at sending out their point of sale, apply now link. Like, oh, you found a house, you're under contract. Okay, now I have to sell you. Great, fill out my apply now link. And then that begins the process of whatever, right? Whether it sucks or it's good or it's bad, the gathering of documents and all those things that you're saying, hey, we've got a way better mousetrap to do that. So you're not spending your time chasing those documents. But they're really good at that. They're good at submitting the loan. The industry as a whole right now closes things pretty fast. Mm-hmm. Like people don't, there's not a massive difference from company A to B as far as just being able to do the basic blocking and tackling. There is a massive difference between the expectations that are set, how much people like their loan officer, how friendly they are, what their communication's like. So there's a big difference there. But the industry as a whole is pretty decent from I've signed a purchase agreement to getting you to closing. I do believe there's a lot of nuance there. And I've worked with a bunch of different AI type stuff, even going back years, where we were trying to build a decision engine that said, if you have a gift, you need this, this, and this. Yeah. And the individual loan officer made it really different in that because you said you needed a gift, I, with 28 years of experience, may look in there and say, whoa, 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 we're not doing the gift. You have enough money here. It doesn't matter where it comes from. So I could go in and make the process better by putting 28 years of experience over top of, what the nerd guys say we need, because that is what DU's asking for and what AUS is asking for. I just found a different way to get to the same destination.
Yeah.
But what I'm seeing today is AI is being able to go in and say, whoa, 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 the same thing I would have said. Let's just skip the gift. We don't even need it. They have enough money in their checking account. Get the gift from mom. We don't care. Let's just not inconvenience anybody and just keep moving down the fast path. So I'm seeing tech now doing what I used to be able to say was my super skill.
Yes.
Is being able to add 28 years of experience. Well, tech now can take my experience and kind of lay it in to what they're already doing, which to me just tells me I need to be, programming more tech and be in the front end of that so I don't just get gobbled up. And I've got some cool stuff that I've been working on with like sales coaching, where I can be on the fly inside of somebody's computer while they're talking to a client and giving them little sales tidbits over here. Hey, ask them about this. Hey, do this.
Yeah.
Do this. Right? Yes. And it's me, but it's not me. So it's really cool. What, I don't even know if I answered your question. I probably went in a circle. Yeah. People that follow you are like, who is this weird guy with the cow on the wall? Like he's just talking in circles, but
you sort of did with the, how can they be better at new business is like the decision engine thing that you were building before. It's like leaning in more into, technology, because they're already good at now business. I mean, you mentioned the speed across the industry. I think speed is not even like a differentiator right now, because who cares if I close in 16 days versus 17 days versus 15 days, right? People you can already scale with people, and there's enough money to go around where people can loan officers can bounce back and forth. And there's some really amazing high producing loan officers that do 15, 20, loan someone to a one man shop, maybe not in this market, but there's a possibility. But now where they could, be better is by using technology. And this is how neural networks work. When you were mentioning, hey, it is thinking as a human. That's where the entire industry, that's where we want it to be, in a sense that People are trying to build artificial general intelligence, like AGI. We're trying to build AGI for the mortgage industry. It needs to have full context, full intelligence. And so when you look at a neural network, the whole like computer science term is taking in a bunch of different inputs, like thousands and billions of parameters, just as like neurons in your brain, and then synthesizing it and producing an output. So it's like literally like cloning a human and personas. That's why the biggest use case of AI is persona generation and persona creation, like character AI. Those companies are really, really popular because you can take a bunch of different essays about someone and then sort of like clone that sort of like persona, and it does really, really well at it. So if you give it a bunch of different inputs around how a loan is closed, different inputs around guidelines, it can take billions of it, and then it can build that persona and then use that persona to do things in the future.
Hey, if you're listening to this, quick reminder, we have a free group, CEO1440.com. Jump in there. Tons of posts, tons of information, a lot of stuff we're bringing day in, day out to help you do more with your 1,440 minutes every single day. CEO1440.com. Check it out. Yeah, I think that building of the persona is really neat, and not just the persona, like the persona of me, but the persona of the client. And you have to meet them where they're at. And so if you look at the home buying journey, let's say somebody today starts out, I've got a son that just graduated from college. He's got a master's degree from Johns Hopkins right there in your neck of the woods in the Baltimore area. And, he's out there and he's kicking tires around. And he's like, should I buy a house someday? And he's hitting up mortgage calculators to see what a payment might be and doing that initial research. So you can determine, he's 22 years old, master's degree. You can start building out that persona to land in front of him with actual stuff that applies to him. So in 5 years, you can be there to buy the house. So like that's really cool. Just big data. You can look at, and they're getting so much stuff. They know what he buys at the grocery store because he puts it on his, card, and he's got his discount card, so they know what he's buying. Oh, he just bought trash bags and 4 garbage cans and a mop. What's the odds that he moved into someplace new? Oh, lo and behold, he's now got a rent payment over here. Lease is probably 6 or 12 months. Let's hit him up at 9 months to see if he's ready to buy a house. Like just crazy stuff like that. So I super excited. But one thing going back, you had mentioned about what can people do. It's being very conscious of where people are at inside of the process. So I'd like to think that you want to route everybody into one central front door. So your business comes in through one front door. When they come in through the front door as a loan officer, my job is to try and parse out where they need to go. Same way if you're having a dinner party. People come over, what do? I'm married. My wife tells me what to do. John, when we have guests show up, you need to meet them at the door, take their coat, hang it up, make sure they have something to drink. That's my job. Right? So, but loan officers need to do the same thing. Everybody that comes through the door, I now have to take wherever you're at in the journey. And I think that there's really 5 ends. So people come in the door, you gotta, now, not now, never, like, where are they at in their journey? And then place them in the appropriate spot.
Yeah.
If somebody comes in with their 5-year-old, I take their coat. I say, kids are playing down in the basement. And I shuffle them down into the basement. Maybe I don't talk to them. Maybe they don't ever go to the grown-up room. But you parse them out, and then you nurture them along, because that 5-year-old is going to become a 12-year-old, is going to move to the big kids table. And the big kids, when they get to 15, they're all sitting in a different room. They're all talking and they're doing different activities. So think of all mortgage people. Everybody comes in one front door. Your job at the front door is to put them into the appropriate place, and then make sure you have activities for them inside of their place. And it's that simple. And they will eventually become the people that are hosting the events. They buy houses, they do all those things. And AI is really cool. And then, on the speed thing, you had said before, speed, I think that we overemphasize speed. A lot of us old dudes like myself overemphasize the speed part, because there have been points in our career that it took, 9 weeks to close a loan. So it's like still something that's cool for me, but like you're way younger, you never used a pager. Like it just wasn't part of what you did. And you never had printer that printed out on the little things where you had to tear the little perforation things off of the edge. Like it just didn't happen. So some of the things that we value, because values the perception of the person that has it, it's just not valuable anymore. And I think that we as an industry put way too much credence on how fast you can do something. Because a lot of clients will ask the question like, well, how quickly can you close? And then we go into this big thing about how fast. But they might it probably doesn't even matter. It's just a question they ask because they just want to know. And we take them down this sales thing. Matters zero.
I mean,
I do see you guys though, in the AI space, really being able to decrease the cost. That's where I see it as just, people are spending, at times thousands of dollars in, cost to manufacture alone. I've seen stats of, 8-10 grand to manufacture alone.
yeah.
And that's why the brokers, like the people I deal with, can win because they don't have the same overhead as some of these big companies that are doing all this stuff. So they've been able to win. But as those companies can bring that cost down, either they're going to share it in with the consumer in better pricing. And I think today in a rougher market, you see that, or they're going to be able to share it to their shareholders in more revenue, those kind of things. But that's where I see it as really interesting, where I can, and you'll probably blow my mind, but I can have an AI look at a paycheck stub. I can send it to a $4 an hour person in the Philippines. If they both come up with the same answer, I can skip that underwriting portion altogether. I don't have to have an underwriter ever look at that. Or I can have multiple bots look at something and just make the determination. If 3 bots read it the same way with the same income, I'm just going to go out on a limb and just sign off on that file without ever looking at the paycheck stubs. And I think that this is a place, right? Like your mom is really in there in the forefront of helping people operationally get their poop in a group and really be able to get some scale and some speed and be able to do things way faster.
Yeah, we're in the age exactly right now of pre-underwriting, even pre-underwriting. And there is no need to wait until, let's say, all of the docs are available. You send it to an underwriter. They take a couple of days to send it back, and then you get response, and then you have a couple of things that you need to, you can get all of that information immediately, even before. And as I like to think of it as like a live Google Doc. That's how I think of a loan. It's multiple people just contributing at the same time. And there's no need to save the doc, send it to someone else, they send it back. No. You can just collaborate on that live Google Doc immediately while it's happening. And if a borrower is asking questions around, oh, how fast can you close? I really think the actual question there is, can you close? They want to have a certainty that you can close, because if you cannot close, they will go to someone else who can close. If someone closes in 17 days, 18 days, that's fine. But they just want to have that certainty, hey, am I in good hands? That's what they want to know. So I think the entire industry right now is in for not necessarily a lot of shakeup in terms of the outcome of the process, but just internal processes, internal operational efficiencies. Last time I checked, the cost to originate, cost to close is around $13,000 right now. AI can get that cost way down and just create massive operational efficiencies in the industry.
Yeah, it's really neat to see some of these things that, when I got started in the business, it was late 90s. Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky were in office. That was meant to be funny, probably before you were even born. I bet it was. It was late 90s, so right, very funny. But, at that time, you had to a mortgage file got submitted to an underwriter. You had this thing with these little, you had a 2-hole punch. Things had to be in a certain order. Your credit report had to be first, and then the next document, there was a stacking order. And you would send files across the country. You would mail it to an underwriter at a bank. And if your stacking order was wrong, they'd send it back to you. I mean, this is why things took days and weeks. Where I worked, to get stuff done, we would bribe underwriters with lunch. And what they would do, there was one girl there that you could get your file moved up if if you brought her a Diet Coke, like you could get your file moved up. Uh, like,
Are you saying all it took to like close in 15 days versus 13 days is just a Diet Coke?
A Diet Coke moved you up in the line. I mean, even like one of the CEOs at the world's like one of the most powerful mortgage companies, they were running a sales team and their wife ended up being one of the underwriters. Like they spent so much time together, they ended up getting married. Right. So like that was like how you got your business done. And then the underwriter, when they looked at a file, they wouldn't go in and look at the income and clear that one thing. They'd look at the file soup to nuts. It was a 3-hour long thing that they had to look at every single piece. And they weren't just looking at it once, they were re-looking at it. Like it was really messy. And now today you're saying client sends in a paycheck stub, boom, boom, boom. It can be cleared almost instantaneously. Yeah, it meets, yes, they said they made $27 an hour. The paycheck stub says $27 an hour. The year-to-date says $27 an hour. And I used to have to run Work Number and spend, $75 to have it tell me they make that. But I'm just going to skip that $75 and I'm just going to believe the paycheck stubs that they've sent me that match up with the bank statements that I have. And I'm just going to boom, boom. Yeah, no, so cool.
Natural language. Like you can do it in natural language. Like you don't have to write complex decisioning logic to do that.
Yeah, and I don't know. To me, so where are you guys at with regards to, like, I'm a small broker, right? And I work with a lot of, like, let's say 1 to 5 person broker shops. Yep. And that's kind of like, where are things out there for them, right? I understand if I'm, behemoth and I'm buying, companies for $10 billion, like I have different resources. But let's say I'm a small little broker guy. I got, 5 loan officers that work for me. We each do 5 loans a month. That's 25 closings a month. I'm paying maybe one full-time like admin type person to like process files. And that's kind of what they can do. That the support they give me, I pay them, $50,000 a year plus $100 bonus. Like, is there an AI thing? Is there stuff for me today that I can come in and say, maybe I keep my one admin, but I can go to 10 loan officers without taking on that extra salary and doing those kind of things? Is that something like, is that in the playbook today? Hey, if you're listening to this, quick reminder, we have a free group, CEO1440.com. Jump in there. Tons of posts, tons of information, a lot of stuff we're bringing day in, day out to help you do more with your 1,440 minutes every single day. CEO1440.com. Check it out.
Yeah, we're at a time now where smaller shops, let's say independent loan officers or a team of 1 to 5, can have the same technology as a billion-dollar company. Like technology is just so democratized now that they can have it. And 18 to 24 months from now, the technology that we have today, a lot of people are going to have it in 18 to 24 months from now. Like it's going to be so democratized. So for independent loan officers, they can get in now because large enterprises, they would, take a couple of months to make the decision and then get everyone to buy in and all of that. But I think the real superpower of the local independent mortgage broker is that they can make fast iterative decisions on their process. And just, if they say, hey, I want to use an AI tool today, they can go on, sign up on our website and then get started. And then they can start utilizing AI versus a larger enterprise. Whereas, they will start thinking about like this VP has to talk to this other VP, has to talk to that other VP, and then get a consensus, and then they eventually will use it. And so I really think it's a game right now where it's whoever can move faster. But to answer your question more directly, yes, if you are a small independent mortgage broker, you can go to addy.so or addyai.com and then just sign up. We can take your application in and then we just come in, we look at your process, and then we just get you set up with the best AI in the industry.
And where do you see most people, like where's like the easy, like, when I do consulting, I pretty much know, like when I go and look at a business, I know that there's going to be like 3 easy buttons for me because I've been doing it for 28 years. Like, do you see the same like easy button? Like, here's the 3 things that pretty much every company we go into, like we come right in and like, boom, boom, boom. Like we do this really well, fast, and they love it right away. It's like kind of our first big win. Do you have a sense of what that is now?
It's our processing checklist. It's
Okay.
everyone does some sort of processing in the industry. People like to say everyone does things differently in the industry. Yeah, they do different processes, but every loan officer I've ever talked to does some sort of document processing.
Right.
And that piece of our technology is really, really robust.
Okay.
And the other stuff, because I mean, you can do business without having an AI that calls your leads, but you cannot do business without processing your documents. So that's one of the biggest wins that they can just get started today and just create some operational efficiency around how they're actually just manufacturing and processing the loan.
Yeah, I see a lot of, and you're probably pretty familiar with this, but there's a lot of third-party processing companies out there,
Yeah.
right? And they're awesome. Like I have one. If anybody has questions about third-party mortgage processing, we have one. We actually do away with. I've had companies do away with their internal processing and just move to only having that because they get rid of the payroll and all the other junk. But the pricing on that is really different. Like if you maybe you pay, call it $800, 800 to $1,000 for them to take the file from submitted to, let's say, a United Wholesaler or a Rocket through closing. You have to go gather the documents, do the basic stuff to get it submitted. Or for $12.95 for an extra $400, the processing like from the company will go out and do that other piece. It sounds like I could maybe just like with you, I could do away with that second piece and just have like between what I say and what Addy does, it's queued up perfectly. Like I know I have everything on the checklist before I ever submit it to a Rocket or a UWM, and I could save my client $400 and own that piece of the process. Is that like, are you seeing that as a use case where people are using it in combination with a third party processing company?
Yeah, and imagine you are the owner of a third-party processing company, and then you have this AI, that you have internally that does the processing for you. So even though, let's say, the independent loan officer is going to provision their own AI software and start using it, you as a third-party processing company, you can also then, make little tweaks to it. Loan officers, they are, some of the people that, hey, they want to have like a white gloved sort of like process that could come in, boom, it's flipped, it's ready to go. I can start using it immediately. And if you are a third party processing company and then you have this AI tool that you use internally, then you can make little tweaks to it. So one of the things that we've seen work really well is if there is someone in the brokerage that is going to act like quote unquote the admin. So this could be like the broker owner, or someone's going to be just the admin who can be that sort of like nurturing person and say, hey, well, I'm going to get this AI, I'm going to create this checklist, and then I'm just going to set it up. Like that setup person, there needs to be that setup person. But if you don't have that setup person internally, then I can imagine like there would be a third party processing company that then has their own AI that say, well, we're going to be that setup person for you. Or one of the things that we're doing is like we're making sure that our configuration is just like toggles that you can turn on and off. Like you come on, connect to your LOS, connect to your CRM, and in 5 minutes you do all the connections. And we're doing a lot of like training programs too. We're working on training programs internally where we train you through. We want to have a test loan where we have training videos like, hey, this is what happens when you do this test loan. And we think people will have the time to go through things like that. Like, yeah, to answer your question, we're certainly seeing it on both sides where there's a setup person in the brokerage that's like, hey, I'm going to set up this AI tool. And also we're seeing a lot of interest from third-party processing companies and say, hey, well, we want to have our own AI internally and then set it up for the other brokers.
In theory, well, it's not theory, it's right. They 100, you could do whatever you want. How far is it away from just, I'm the loan officer, I'm writing loans. Let's say I'm doing 5 loans a month. And right now I'm utilizing a third party processor. Let's say I'm paying them, that's costing me $1,000, right? Just across the board, I pay them a fee. So, or really it costs my clients $1,000, but I ultimately have to sell lower rates, different things. How far away is it from me just saying like, it only takes like with Addy, I can get 95% of what the third party processing company is doing at a fraction of the $5,000 that my clients are paying today. Like, how far is that off? Are there loan officers that are just, or small broker shops that are just bringing it back in house and away from third party processing because of it does 85% of the work? And yeah, I got a call 2 times, but I was getting pulled in anyways. Because I see at companies this happen. The company signs up with a third party processing company. They have 5 loan officers. 4 of the 5 use the third party processing company. One loan officer says, I don't want to make my clients pay $900 a file. I'll just do that myself. And at the end of the day, it doesn't drain that much time out of them if they're like detailed and they're good. Is that a realistic thing? Like, hey, I want to get a quick message to you here about adding value. And our industry is terrible at telling you, do this, do that. So many people want to add value to you, but value is not in what I give. It's what you receive and whether it makes sense for you or not. We've got a community, CEO1440, where we post every single day, lots of things, sales scripts, a whole plethora of things. So I don't know what particular things are going to add value to you. They probably all won't, but definitely some of them will. The community is free. Would love for you to get in there, sniff around, poke around, and maybe there's more stuff we can do. But I know it starts because if you're anything like me, you like to get in there, check things out on your own before you go and sign up for some large commitment. So get in there, check out our group. I bet that there's something in there and there's little things that you can do that had you known 6 months ago, you'd be making more money today. Join the group. Look forward to seeing you in there. Have a great day and enjoy the rest of the show.
Yeah. So there has to be trust in the technology, right? And I have seen some of the early customers that we're working with. We babysit them. We get on calls with them and just show them that, hey, we're going to go through this loan and then we're going to see how, you would do it and how the AI would do it. And one of the very real examples, there's one Social Security income, it has to be grossed up 25%. And then the AI just immediately did it and they forgot about it. Or, they were talking about the AI did some income calculation and then it sort of flagged liquid versus illiquid assets. And the loan officer was like, oh my God, I would have, forgot about that. I wouldn't even, think about that. So to your question, it's mostly about trusting the technology. So in the initial stages, they will still do it. But if they do it and then they see the AI gave the same results or even better results, and then slowly they start relying on the AI to do more of it. So to that one loan officer in the company that's still doing it by hand and still doing their own processing themselves, kudos to them. I think those people would be useful in the industry. It's QA, it's evals. In software like at AI, we have this thing called evals where it actually evaluates the results of the AI and then check it against human benchmarks. We have all these like human benchmarking, and we're also doing those human benchmarking things internally in the company too. So for sure, like it's going to take time for this technology to be everywhere, and so there has to be trust in the technology first before it starts doing everything.
Yeah, it's like anything. You want to make sure that it's not going to fall. You build a chair for the first time, you sit on that thing you don't just go jumping right on there and falling on your ass. So it makes perfect sense to me. As skeptical as the next person, but also willing to try new things. So, hey, this has been super awesome. We're kind of running up on time here. I got a hard stop, but I think this has been great. It's super neat to learn about this. We will include some stuff inside of the show notes of how to get a hold of you, who you are, where you're at. You and I just need to get together because we're like 15 miles apart. Yeah, I'll show you around the beautiful thing here. Maybe we'll take you out hunting and get you out there on the, you don't play video game. Like all you do is like computer code. So we got to like find some like less nerdy things for you here. But,
real life hunting. Yes, I'm down.
So we'll figure that out, but this has been awesome. I appreciate it. If anybody has questions for me about anything in here, I'm super open book, super transparent, happy to point you in any direction. At the end of the day, for me, I have a very firm belief in that your 1,440 minutes is more important than anything else. So I don't want to point somebody down the wrong path and waste their time because I believe that, right, karma, like point people in the right direction. Eventually it pans out for you in the good. And I think Michael's the same way. Like he's happy to answer questions. It's been a very open book since I've gotten to know him. So we'll include some info there. And any parting words for somebody that's out there, maybe a little bit intimidated by AI, where things are going, like what would you just leave if you could leave one little nugget for people? What would that be?
I think people should not be scared about AI. There's been this whole great replacement theory. I think ever since the days of, desktop computers, there's been people saying, the loan officer is gone. There's not going to be a loan officer, and that's, decades later, the loan officer is still here. I think the technology will provide a way for itself. The job would evolve to being something else. But as long as you have skill sets, as long as you have agency, you can still do the things that you want to do. You can still do the job, and you can still transition to other parts of the stack that the technology can do. So leveraging the technology to be better than everybody else, that's a gold mine right now. And I don't think people should be scared about any replacement theory for loan officers.
Yeah, I mean, and once you understand and learn something, right, you can take away a lot of things from people, but I can't take away your knowledge. Right. And the more knowledge you have, the longer, the more skills you have, the more leverage it gives you. Yeah. You learn a ton about AI, whether you're in the mortgage space and you want to parlay that over into like the insurance business, right? Like you can go and become a great salesperson that understands systems and all the tech. Go sell insurance. I bet you'll do okay. Go sell cars. I bet you'll do okay. Go, so it just works across all these things, which is super exciting for me. Well, I really appreciate this. Like I said, we will definitely get together. I would love to see more about how this works. Yeah, I have a lot of mortgage companies, mortgage bankers, brokers that I work with that probably could incorporate this into their game, and they all need help. I'm just solving a different problem for them. But this is a problem for almost every one of them. Nobody really has their poop in a group when it comes to these things. So again, there's more conversation. So
let's do a demo when you come back.
We will do that. Awesome, man. Have a great day. I appreciate you here. You still got, remember the hat thing. Marketing, flip it around backwards.
I got to get reps in the industry first before I do that.
Yeah, no, I mean, get the skinny jeans and the Jordans and that like the checkery coat with the pocket square. And you'll be like, maybe I'll send you some pictures. Or just go on LinkedIn and type in mortgage executive. Like, you'll see it. It's out there. Awesome, man. Hey, I appreciate it. Have a great day. This was awesome. Thank you.
Take care. Bye.